Well, thank you once again for meeting up with me just to share what's happening in Jamaica. What happened? Um, let's even start from the beginning because from all indication, this was a it's almost like a freak storm. It's very surprising that it came so quickly and that it got so strong so quickly. So how was that? I mean, how did you being in
Yeah.
a farmer? Well, let me start with that introduction to Tafara Farms, which is a farm in Westmoreland, Jamaica, which is just a few moments outside of the famed Negril, and you are in Orange Hill, which is kind of I like to call it the Humboldt County of Jamaica.
So, I of course, like many people, came to Jamaica and fell in love with Jamaica, and was looking for something different in life, and I'm at a point where I was able to make some moves, and I came to Jamaica, bought some land. The passion was to be an organic farmer and ganja farmer, and grew up with that in my community and in my blood, long before it was allowed in Canada.
Sure.
But so the idea was to create something that was sustainable, that could generate some value to the community here, especially in Westmoreland. There's not a lot of really anything other than tourism over here. So I wanted to do something that was a little bit more for the community, for the farmers, so it's this combination of how do we grow organically and healthy food, and how do we incorporate new foods into our diet, because Jamaicans are very specific about what they eat, and pretty much everywhere you go, it's your rice and peas and your fried chicken or whatever it be. So that was where it started, and then we kind of go from there.
Okay, so you're doing organic farming. Are you thinking of introducing anything like aquaponics? Which leads to interesting questions for the hurricane. But what other type of farming are you guys kind of introducing?
So Jamaica's been experiencing a drought the last couple of years, and I've been here 3 years now, and it's getting worse. I remember when I first got here at this time of year, it rained every single afternoon, like clockwork.
Right around midday. I'm fully aware of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen maybe 2 or 3 rains since the hurricane. I mean, it's dry. And so, aquaponics, hydroponics is critical, especially in the Westmoreland region where, even though there's rivers and you're on an island and there's water is scarce here. It's a dry region. So Tafara Farm does not have groundwater. So we are actively conserving water, catching water, recycling water. So aquaponics is a great way to do it. We've started our irrigation pond that we're going to do some fish farming, and that way we get our nitrogen and all our yummy stuff for our plants. And the problem, one of the challenges with doing that is you end up with a pond that it becomes toxic for your fish. So if you do aquaponics and you run it through the system, the plants actually consume what is toxic to the fish. So rather than having to, introduce fresh water into the pond on a regular basis to keep your fish healthy, you can, do the two together. And that's really key here in Jamaica is creating a symbiotic relationship between the different elements that you're wanting to do. Resources are scarce, resources are expensive. So, it's been interesting. It's been challenging to learn these things. We come in from foreign and we think we know what we're doing, and we don't.
No, I was going to ask how has it been? Because I'm sure that you have a lot of, interaction with the Rastafarian community, who, again, they do a lot of, obviously, a significant amount of farming. And they also do kind of grow their cannabis, the ganja within their regular crops, just because it's just the way that they do things. How does that? I mean, what's your opinion of how how are you kind of maybe integrating some of that into what you guys are doing and sharing knowledge with them?
They've had a long time to study the cannabis plant in Jamaica. They've had a long time to figure out how it likes to grow. One of the biggest, I'm going to just say, one of the biggest challenges for the Rastafari community, not in it, and I hate generalizing, but we're going to do that for the sake of it, is they just don't have the money to really set themselves up in a way that they could really, really showcase their talent.
Right,
And
right,
so they're
right.
hard to find. You find the small growers here and there, and if you're willing to listen, you can really get some great information. And they do a very organic way of farming. They put a plant where there's a piece of dirt, and then they find another. So whatever's there is what's there, and they work
Right,
with
right.
it. And so that's why you get these land breath strains that these strains that do well here,
Right, right.
because they've been curated that way.
And many of them, in fact, there's even like the very well known the grill strain, which I like to call the grill chill, because one of the you could like smoke all day, but still be kind of completely functional, and that's really only inherent to the grill, and I'm sure Orange Hill. Tell us about. I mean, yeah. So this is again a great historical ganja growing area of Jamaica. You find your little home there and so on. And from what I understand, you sustained significant damage during Beryls. So I kind of wanted to get it. What I started to get it with the swiftness of the storm forming. I mean, how much time did you have before to say, put in place whatever measures, given the speed and the magnitude that was coming at Jamaica?
Yeah, it came quick. And here's the other thing is I'm out farming. I'm out in the field. I'm not paying attention all the time to the weather. And we just look on the phone, is it going to rain today? Is it not? And so we're not really digging into it too much and just kind of going with what comes. Okay. And so yeah, it came on quick, which is great. We're grateful actually for the fact that it moved quick.
Right.
Because it came in differently. I've talked to some of the older heads and some of the older farmers about this region and how they saw the hurricane, how it came in. When we were in the eye of it, we didn't have a lot of rain.
Right.
The rain came afterwards, which is unusual. It was just really, really high winds. The winds came off the hills, not off the water. Right. So they impacted, sadly, farmers. More than, because what you have inland is you have your small little communities and you have your small little farmers, and, it might be just an acre, might even just be a quarter acre, and people are doing what they can on it. And then you have your hoteliers that kind of occupy the shorelines. And so it was the farmers that got hit really hard this time. So it could be, for us, it was a disruption to our drip irrigation systems were completely flooded out. Our fields were flooded. We lost a lot of crops, a lot of all of our melons, all of our squash, everything. Every fruit tree was stripped bare.
Okay, I was gonna ask, was the damage more from the winds or from the water?
It was
runoff?
from the winds. It was from the winds. Okay. There's not a mango to be found, and we're in mango season.
Sure, the markets are like overloaded right now. I can imagine all the boys on the road. Like, what?
Yeah. There's and the sad piece that is a lot of people survive on these things.
Absolutely.
They are seasonal in their food intake, and they really live that 100-mile diet. So it came in quick, which we're grateful for, because if it had stuck around and sat like I hear Gilbert did when it came through, it would have been devastating. Okay. We just here at the farm, we're in a little bit of a bowl. We're up in the mountains and near Negril, and we lost probably 20 trees just on the property, and then surrounding. I'm looking up and I'm seeing slopes that there's rocks up there I didn't know were there. So the topography or the appearance is very different. It's changed. And we've been working with RADA, and we were just actually at RADA, which is the Rural Agricultural Development
Agency. Right?
We were just there the other day and talking to some farmers and hearing about their experiences. The plantain, banana gone. Right. So we're already seeing food shortages. The people still have power outages. We didn't have power until last Thursday here. So 18 days with no power. We're lucky we had a generator. So we did a lot of community charging of phones and
I'm sure, right on.
And we're lucky that we had satellite. I had no idea. It didn't even occur to me when I was getting satellite. I got it because it was the only thing available. But lo and behold, if you have power.
In an emergency, right? It comes in pretty handy, right on. Excellent.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, what's the outlook? Well, what has been? Because I'm sure that when these things happen, you do the license industry. They kind of do vocalize whatever their concern might be. Have they? What's the feedback that we're getting from those guys with the dispensaries and the license farms and so on? Have they been how have they been affected? Or would it be heard?
You know what? To speak the truth, I don't know who any of them are. The only ones that growers that I'm familiar with that are licensed are on the eastern side of the island.
Right.
So there's really, honestly, there's not a lot of licensed cultivators. It's a problem, and hopefully they're doing something about it.
Right.
The way we've set up here at Tafara Farm is we've set up the farm to meet the CLA requirements. So we've got the 8-foot fencing and the barbed wire and the camera systems, and the process, and all of our plants are tagged, and we follow those
all the stuff that costs money, right? Absolutely, right.
Right. Yeah. But we did also, just because we want to be ready to apply for licensing when truthfully, I hate to say it, but when it makes sense, because right now there's a lot of flaws in the system as it is, and there's not a lot of protections. There's not a lot of things that are going to be helpful. And, Jamaica's a developing nation, so there's still things that need to be worked out politically in the system. So we are a certified Sacramento grower, and we grow for our community. We're proud of that. We've got 30 plus strains, and we really focused on landrace and those original strains, trying to bring them back to Jamaica and bring them back to the Rastafari community a little bit more, because a lot of them have been lost or interbred. So we're
right. Kind of hermaphrodized, bastardized, effectively. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I call them mudbloods, a little Harry Potter reference. But but yeah, so we're at Tafara Farm. We are certified to cultivate, to process, to manufacture, to transport, which it provides a little bit of protection, but it's not. I think doing that and doing it responsibly and doing it with respect to the CLA requirements at least in how we're set up, and we're trying to do it the best way we can within this imperfect system.
Right, within the framework that well, it doesn't seem to be perfect anywhere. I mean, you hear that the issues that they're having in the U.S., Canada right now, that they always have their glut, and then there's either glut or issues with getting access. No one has quite gotten it absolutely correct. In fact, I do hear some of the smaller states and some of the interior Bible Belt states, like I think it's Missouri, one of them actually had like one of the best programs. It's like, really? Y'all did it right? Go figure.
No, it's for real, and I'll be really interested to see what happens in Florida, because I don't know if you realize, like, but living in Georgia for 17 years, I mean, there's some heavy pot growers down in the South.
Oh yeah. Well, see what's happening in Florida. See, a lot of them kind of went to hemp, and then kind of figured that they would jump on the CBD craze. Then too many got in, so the price of CBD went down. Then they realized, well, we can extract Delta 8 and Delta 10 and all this good stuff for THCA, and then now it's just this kind of weird unregulated market, which is becoming a contentious issue in Florida. I'm helping to try to mitigate as far as I'm concerned. We're all family, and we should be regulated. If we're messing with people's brains, we should be.
Well, the reality is that the plant was created perfectly.
Right. Right. Well,
it truly is. It is a perfect plant. It'll grow anywhere on the planet. Right. Different strains, different growing time frames. And you want the entourage, you want everything that the plant has to offer. And yes, you can target for certain things, because we make edibles, so we're targeting for different things. I'm waiting for my strains, what am I looking for? My mimosa mint and a couple of my star mint to come up, so that I can make some RSO, because they've got some really great, relaxing, calming, pain relief, just some nice uplifting energy kind of elements to the cannabis.
Right.
That's why, but you want that full effect. So when we start trying to play with it, like the pharmaceutical community has been doing for the last, since the 70s, you know, it doesn't always work.
Technically not, but yeah. Technically, right? Yeah, but absolutely, right? No, but
Right.
and you're right. It doesn't exactly. But I mean, I would say on a personal level, because we are an advanced human, well, advancing. I can't directly quite advanced yet. We're advancing, presumably. And I don't. We have the capacity. We have the scientific whatever. If say there's a level of extraction of say the hemp plant or even the cannabis plant that is synthesized that can make sense for some medicinal pharmaceutical, to me that makes perfect sense. But I wouldn't say that, okay, we're going to extract this, synthesize this, and say, look, this is going to replace, your good quality entourage effect ganja. It's like, no, it's just don't. So you can
No, because you're missing that.
spray a terpene mint flavor, spray, wedding cake flavor on a little cherry, whatever, blossom, whatever. There you go. There's your ganja. It's like, no, you can't fake nature.
That, honestly, Omar, that is the classic mistake the race has made from the beginning of time, is this idea that we know better than Ja, right? I mean, come on.
No,
for real.
For real. One of us doesn't know.
So, I mean, work with what you're given and understand it. Take the time to understand it, and there is a place. So part of the, with the organic farming, that's one thing that I do see here, and part of the educating that I want to do is, a lot of Jamaicans feel like they are organic farmers because they're farming in Jamaica.
Right.
Just by the fact
and just using the natural, right on, yeah.
But the reality is they're not, because they're still using chemicals, and they're still using really highly toxic chemicals to do their, you can't kill anything in Jamaica. I mean, other than people, I hate to say that, but you can't. Everything lives. Everything lives. And you just have to manage it and work with it. So when you've got weeds and plants growing, you just kind of figure out how to hold them back so you can get what you need out of the dirt. So they're still using a lot of products that are not good. So it's just like what we're talking about with the cannabis, where we're synthesizing for certain things. Are you going to be organic or not? Like,
right. Yeah, it's one or the other. No, yeah, for sure. You can't kind of cross over and say, but we're still organic. We're, this is.
Yeah, I just sprayed Gramazone over there, or Lavox over there, or this over there, but I'm growing my plant here organic. So some of our goal is to provide education and also access to resources. A lot of people don't know that there are actually some really great organic companies here that produce fertilizers and stuff.
Absolutely, you're absolutely correct. I have met a couple. None of their names bring up. Well, I can't remember off the top of my head, but definitely I have met a couple of them. Some proper organic living soil that people that you can acquire. It's I
worked with Omar. You'll remember it now. Omar at Jamaican Organic.
Yeah, Omar. I might well. Okay, it's impossible that we haven't counted. I assure you. Right on. Yeah. So let's go back a little bit to the storm. Just wanted to. So what? I mean, given the fact that Beryl came so early in the season, and this is the hurricane season that's going pretty much until November, I believe. Are you having to take specific precautions because of this? I mean, what? Yeah. So what are you guys doing? What you recommend to others?
You've got to look at the things that are absolutely 100% necessary for you to continue operations for at least 2 weeks. So what do I have to have for 2 weeks? Our biggest issue was water. And so because the hurricane came on so quick, we weren't able to really beef up our catchment system. So we catch water, but what we needed to do was to be able to push water from our catchment into storage, so that we could catch everything. We also had 2 1,000-gallon tanks that were full of water that were blown over by the storm. The wind was that powerful.
I was about to say, even with the weight of the 1,000 tanks, I mean, that 1,000 gallons.
1,000 gallons.
How much is like a ton?
1,000 gallons.
I don't know, but that's crazy. Okay.
They were up on the slope, and when we got up, they were sitting down in front of the front yard.
Right.
So, making sure that they're secure, limbing some of the trees, because we had a lot of trees down and a lot of tree debris. We're having to look at how we control the water as it moves through the land, because our land is slightly sloped. So we literally have this beautiful trail of topsoil and marl and gravel. Our whole road is half a mile down the road now. All of our road surface is gone.
Okay.
So there's little things like that about it's really more the water for us
Right.
was more damaging. One thing we're going to do is we're going to plant pineapple all around the slope of the farm, all the way around. It's going to take years because it's not a overnight thing. But
Right.
what it does is it holds soil, and it
Okay.
will slow the water down when it's coming off the slopes.
Okay. Right.
And it provides a crop, so it creates a really good mat that because we don't want to lose our topsoil. And that's a big thing
Right.
for farmers here, especially in Westmoreland. They're farming in rock and lava stone. And so these little pockets of dirt are
Okay.
gold.
Right. Right on.
So
Okay.
how do you keep them? Sandbags? Yeah, you've got to think about it because
Right.
that
Okay.
was the first storm of many I hear, praying not.
So I mean, so what are I mean, what's the government doing? Is the government getting involved? You say you met with Rada. I'm sure met to kind of get an assessment on the ground of what's needed. But now that we kind of have an assessment of what the damage is, there is the government going to talking about getting involved? Is there any?
So the
conversation at all?
government has I can't remember exactly the program, but the Andrew Holness launched a new program that's coming out at the end of the month that's going to have aid, especially he was mentioning farmers, and that's going to go through RADA. But what it actually happens is you get a lot of attention for the first probably 6 to 8 weeks, and then
Right.
it goes away.
Right.
And
See,
so,
that's what I'm asking. Are they putting anything in place? Because you can't every 6 to 8 weeks gonna make a call. Oh, we need to go and get some aid from Canada because the farmers in Westmoreland need help. You know, we can't. That's not an appropriate cycle.
and that's how that's sort of how the international community works, right? So,
Unfortunately,
and
well,
it's
that's
also
true.
about assessing damages across the entire region, not just Jamaica.
Not just Jamaica. This is true.
So you're really competing for international aid. There's not going to be a lot of financial aid on the ground. I mean, there's water tanks and things that they're giving out. But that's something they've been doing in this region for the last several months because of the
Right.
water shortages that they've been having in the Negro
Okay.
region. So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
not something new.
Right.
Um,
Right. It's not something as a result of the current
Yeah,
disaster. It's
I
kind of
mean, RADA is doing things like
just
giving
maintaining it.
right. So they're
Right.
giving seedlings away, but of course they're not going to give ganja seeds away. They're giving plant seedlings, you know. So we're
If
talking
they
about
are,
the
be pretty
ganja-
suspect, you know. They'd be like, "Come on, where'd you get that?"
I know.
But yeah,
I know.
right.
I mean, one thing that we're going to do, which we hadn't done because we're pretty new, and we're
Right.
trying to protect the strains that we've really invested our time and energy in. But we're going to start doing some cloning to help some of the farmers.
Okay, right on.
So that they can get some of the plants, you know, at least with some of the strains that we know are already commonly here.
Right.
Because you know, that's the biggest thing. And I know they were talking at the CanX conference last October about having mother farms, and which is maybe
Right.
a whole nother conversation because I've got some pretty strong opinions on
That is a good conversation. I was actually there when they introduced that concept, and it's an interesting concept again. How it will be rolled out and administered is a whole another question.
My biggest my biggest takeaway from that, just right off the bat, was you know, monopolies. Monsanto.
Right. Well, you see, again, it really depends on it really depends on who is kind of is at the top and what their real intentions are. Because you're exactly right. You could say we're gonna take 1,000 acres here, we're gonna plant these Monsanto doctored seeds, and when the wind takes it to Waba's farm, I could be like, whoa, that terpene is specific to this thing because we put this chemical inside of it, and so this has to be, and then now you owe us. And that's exactly 100% something that we must certainly mitigate against. But the concept isn't off. It's again, it really depends on how it's implemented.
No, and one of the biggest issues too, which I think is where they'll run into the biggest challenge in Jamaica, is Jamaicans don't like to be told what they can sell things for. They're going to sell it for what they can sell it for.
There's a cultural level, which is kind of my main, which is where I know it will run into problems, just because there's going to be an issue with somebody's going to want to do something one way, someone's not going to want them to, and somebody got to cuss and carry on and this and that, and it's going to be it's going to
Yeah.
be just a
And what
disruptive
what
environment.
you'll end up with these mother farms, because the idea behind the mother farms is quite utopian. I like it. It's we're gonna help take care of you. But what
Right,
they're
right on.
essentially saying is we're gonna buy all of your product. So that means that we get to set the price because you're gonna sell it to us. So you're
Right.
basically farming for
For
us.
us,
But
exactly.
we're gonna decide what you get paid for
Right.
it, what the value is for it, rather than a free enterprise system. We're going, it's going to be a little
Right.
different.
Right.
But the idea, the good side of it was that there is going to be a more established parent farm that is going to take on the accountability of helping these small
Right.
farmers
Small farmers,
sustain
exactly right. Right.
themselves.
See,
So
that's
that's
see, that's
sustainable.
that's my positive take on it. I mean,
Yeah.
you could say, well, but you might get a big boost because a big cruise ship came in and let the tourists run around for overnight or something. But I mean, if you're a small farmer, you kind of you want that guaranteed paycheck. If you can
Yeah, you need to
identify to
access
me
the market.
what's my guaranteed after 3 months of growing and then whatever drying and curing and so on, you give me my guarantee for my poundage, I will put in the work,
And that's you've hit on it, Amar. Kids, one of the biggest problems for farmers in any area
is
of
a
farming
guarantee. Is a
is
guarantee.
the ability to show potential earnings. That's
Right.
like the Jamaican Development Bank they provide loans to farmers, and they are going to do some of that. They're going to start doing some stuff. And I was talking to the MP because I was at their office the other day too, and asking them what's going on.
Right.
And so there are going to be some things, but most of that is funneled through local banks, the Jamaican Development
Right.
Bank. Most of it's done
Right.
through local banks. And local banks here are, I mean, it takes 6 hours to open an account. So when it comes
6 hours?
to oh, you're lucky if it takes 6 hours. Some people it takes days, and I'm not joking. That's so when it comes to proving potential income that you can support a loan, farmers can't do it. So in this case, they could, which I think is part of why the finance minister is sort of heading this project.
Right.
Because you could say, I've got 1 acre of land, I'm capable of growing this
X
many
amount.
plants, yielding this much, selling this much, making it. So it does give them a more verifiable business.
Right on. And they could run it as a business, you know what I mean? As and get banks as well, pay taxes, heaven forbid, or Rasta paying taxes. But yeah, let's get to that point. I mean, it's called progress.
I mean, look, if you want to be heard, you've got to be a part of the system some way.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
The system needs money here. They really, that's biggest problem is you got a lot of people who have land that don't pay tax. So there's a lot of things
that
could
too,
be improved.
This is true.
But I like that piece of the concept. But then there has to be, what is the integrity and the ethical and the moral checks and balances that would be put in place to make sure the system stayed fair, because that's some of the challenges they're having with the CLA right now.
Right. No,
So we'll see. It's I feel like I'm in the wild west. And hey,
I think everyone in the cannabis industry thinks they're in the wild west. I mean, from here right across to Thailand, it's a bizarre industry. It's a bizarre wild beast that we're all kind of trying to tame, while some people want to continue to keep it criminalized and lawful. It's quite interesting. But we have the drive. I think people do see the future, and it's kind of like we're just waiting to get there, and just kind of trying to make it work along the way. And on that note, especially since you're speaking of finances and all this good stuff, you want to share some information with how, if somebody wants to be able to help you guys out on your farm or in other farms in Jamaica?
Oh my gosh. We need help. We need help just like all the other farmers. We really do. We're on a mission here. Our website is www.tafarafarm.com. You can send us a message. You can let us know how you can help if you want to help. We've done a lot in just trying to help our community just in the ways that we can. But we also need help. We've had some friends from the States and Canada help, and we've also got people that are reaching out to donate. And one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we get it to the people who need it in their hands.
Right.
A lot of people rely on organizations and they don't always end up where it's really needed, but we're boots on the ground. We have eyes in the villages and the communities. We are deeply enmeshed in the community. So we see it.
Right.
We see what's going on, and the people that are bailing water in their room.
Right, and what they need, You're not gonna walk to them with a hamper of Grace packaging and have the Grace marketing manager there with the shaking their hand. Hi, yes, we got these Grace guava jelly and hardo bread. Great, and some bully beef.
Buying diapers and flour and just some staple items that people can have. I've got somebody right now who's looking at a way to ship some generators down here. So we were talking about, not necessarily giving them to an organization, but holding them and making them available in future events so that we can take them to maybe a town center and people can come and charge. We're going to figure it out, but we're going to make sure that the aid goes where it needs to.
Right, and it is necessary. Right on. All right, I say thank you. Thank you
very
much. Caitlin, thank you for your time. I did expect this to be a little bit short. I think we ran a good half hour, which is good. I think I'll just release this other podcast. So we covered a breadth of information there, so it's actually quite cool.
Yeah.
I will do a couple extracts for the show that should be airing next week on Pro Cannabis Media News.
Cool. Can you send me links of stuff when you're doing it?
Absolutely, most definitely.
I would appreciate. Yeah, I mean, I'm reading the magazine, and it was so funny because I just got off a call with Nicole, so we thought it was funny because I started telling her, I said, "Yeah, I've been talking to this guy Amari," and she was like, "Oh yeah, I know Amari."
Okay, right
Nicole from Vancouver, from the culinary chef that she does the infused food and stuff.
Oh, of course. Yeah, Nicole. Yeah.
So she's gonna be launching.
That's right. She's doing her little retreat thing. That's right. Because she's in Jamaica. She's in Jamaica, isn't she? That's right. She has moved. Or gonna be. I think. Yeah. Okay.
But we're the farm that she's gonna launch from.
Is it? Okay. Well, awesome. Well, even better. Yeah. I know that we go way back. We've done a few video things. I tried to do it's for the don't ask me why. I was just obsessed with trying to do this workshop during this virtual conference thing that I was doing. And I know how you do workshops virtually, but whatever. She was supposed to be guiding us through, I think it was a smoothie that she made on it kind of worked. I think the video is actually still up on the site somewhere. But we go way back right now. Yeah.
So she's gonna be launching from here. So we're gonna be doing hopefully a lot of great things with organic food and cannabis infusions.
Right on. All right, well that's sweet. That's sweet. When do you think that's gonna happen, or at least when is she planning on being on the ground?
So we were just talking today. We're getting our timeline together, and I think we're gonna try to launch beginning of October.
Okay.
When is that conference that you've been promoting?
It's the 14th and 15th, October 14th and 15th.
So around the same. So it might. We were talking about the beginning of October, but we were thinking that was sort of a good time frame because it seems like that's when there's a lot of cannabis stuff going on. So, that's the goal. We've got to finish hurricane cleanup and finish building out our kitchen. We've got some projects on the go that we've got to get caught up on because we got derailed with hurricane cleanup.
Right. I saw the shot of your deck. That looks like a cool little spot that you guys have out there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
pretty cool. Right up. I know.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see what's up. Do you know what's happening with Canex? Have you heard? I see Douglas is kind of starting to kind of push things out. I mean, I think they completely downgraded last year to a degree that I'm not even comfortable promoting it anymore. So I'm very curious to see what's happening this year because we do have to launch our magazine.
Last year was my first year.
You got short-handed stick or the short end of the stick. I don't know. It was my first one was 2018 and it was pretty large. I mean, Bruce Linton came by. We'd known from Canada. Met him, interviewed him. Cool. He's actually a pretty cool guy. And I mean, it was big. There were lots of people there. Then it kind of started to, I don't know. Then whatever. It is what it is. So now it's just like a bunch of these small meetings talking about mushrooms and holistic health and wellness, which is great. That's a part of it, but that's certainly not. That's not the ganja conversation we should be having in Jamaica. Let me put it that way.
No. I felt like that too. That it was very focused on the psilocybin industry here. I would be interested. I mean, I got some out of it because I went really for the panel discussions.
Right.
Being a new grower and just kind of heads down in doing what I
Yeah,
do.
for sure. Right.
You know, we're an edibles producer, and I wanted to see if there's anything going on in that industry. And I mean, we really would like to position Lush Industries as being at the forefront of conscientious edible
Edible
manufacturing here,
consumption.
and
Well,
consumption responsible.
that brings up a very interesting statement. I would love to get a statement from you on this. What's your opinion of where Jamaica is on the legality of edibles?
My feeling is that they are emulating Canada. As far as I think it's how do you sell cannabis to the general public in as far as a concept, as an idea, as an acceptable thing that you could talk about around the dinner table? How do you
Right.
make that palatable? Well, you do it from a medicinal perspective.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's the way to do it, because everybody has had all kind of stigmatized, there's all kinds of ideas about Rastafari. There's all kinds
Yeah.
of ideas about recreational abusing of cannabis and extracts and all that kind of stuff. So medical is a nice, safe way to go. So that's what I see
Right.
Jamaica doing.
Right.
Is
Right.
they're going to focus on that. That's where their energy and money and the government is going to focus. But I also think that they're recognizing that there is a booming industry that the government is not getting a piece of.
Okay.
So they're going to try to figure out how to get money out of cannabis, as whether it's a export, whether it's part of the GDP somehow. How does it fit into that? So medical, GDP, how do we make that work? Edibles right now they're not legal here.
Right.
They're not, of course, which means they're completely unregulated and people are doing whatever
Right.
they want. The first gummies I bought in Jamaica were literally gummy bears. I think they were the Hasbro gummy bears that you buy in the
Is that
States.
right?
They were
Hey, I
nothing.
make no mistake. People will sell them to you. It's like, yeah, sure, take it. This is great.
Oh, no, they were nothing.
Unwitting little tourists, like, oh my god, I think I'm feeling something. No,
Yeah.
it's no, but that's just it. But to me, it's such a fundamental part of the industry, and
Yes.
it's so fundamental because it's literally part of that exact conversation. How do you have a conversation with an 80-year-old mother, who is certainly not going to smoke a spliff, but is kind of, I'm very, very curious, and I wouldn't mind an edible, but I can't access it properly, or I have to go to this other person's grandmother's friend, and God only knows what you take. She might have taken it a good few times, but she's probably used to it. You don't know what's going to do when it hits you, and that's a huge problem. I think that's you're just literally excluding a huge sector of the market. If you want to make money from it, you got to include people. You got to.
That's what I was saying with Florida. You got this elderly population. Let's be honest. I feel pain. I have arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. I feel pain in the middle of the night, because I've been laying in one position and my hips hurt or my joints hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get up and smoke a spliff.
Right.
But if I can take an edible that is slow release or is going to impact me in a couple hours or an hour and a half, and it's going to last for 6 hours.
Right, exactly.
Now I'm getting the pain relief and the benefits that I need to address the issue. So let's be honest, it is a relevant part of the conversation, and why it's why people are more hesitant with it. I think it's because it's harder to control. And it's, you get a lot of people here who are really not ethical. Like I run into people who they take my edibles and they'll be gobsmacked. And because they think, oh, I've done 100 milligram before, lots of times. I don't even make 100 milligrams.
Okay.
I don't think it's responsible.
Really? Okay.
Okay. Because first of all, if you're taking that much for pain, the whole point of pain management is actually not to desensitize your body, because your receptors will start blocking the cannabis.
Okay.
It'll start blocking. So if you start taking those higher and higher and higher doses, they don't work as
They don't.
well.
Yeah, it's kind of cuts off at a point where it's just not where you'll pee it out. You basically effectively
The body's
sweat it. Yeah.
The body's endocrine system works as a doorway. It shuts doors and opens doors, period. And that's what cannabis interacts with. So if you're too high, the door's going to close. If you're not, so it doesn't make sense to be taking doses that strong. It really doesn't.
Right.
Now, if you want to take 3 of my 50 milligrams and
That's
add up to
different.
100,
Right.
that's
Right.
your choice.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
But
Yeah.
what I find here is most people will take my 50 and they'll be like, oh, I've done 100. And then because mine are properly titrated.
Right. Well,
Most
there is that
people
as well. I mean, a lot of people extract. Yeah. I mean, they'll extract the oil. It wouldn't be properly decarbed. Maybe heated in the oven or something, and they assume, yeah, this is it. And it's like, that's not even.
Yeah, and they're
close.
not.
You
They
know?
don't have
Yeah.
access to the different strains.
Well,
They
there's
don't have
yeah, and
access
there's
to
that
the
too. There's
data.
that too. There's that too.
You know,
A lot of
and
untested products. I don't like that they're untested products. There are even people there whose products I would love to promote, and so I'm like, you know what, I need to be responsible media. I mean, definitely hardcore propaganda, pro ganja propaganda,
yeah,
but I also have to be responsible because
yeah.
my readers are not me, and they're not all just hardcore stoners. You know what I mean?
Right,
They're,
and that's where we're headed. I mean, we're gonna have the University of the West Indies do some testing for us. We're waiting for our certain strains that we want to use for certain products, because again, it takes a long time to breed strains and get strains
I
to
realize
where,
that. Yeah.
I mean, it's a couple years investment into really having especially if you're wanting to manufacture edibles. So
Yeah, because you want to get that repeatability and so on, which again, and once you've changed environments, it gets difficult. I know I guess you speak with Marcel at UE, very good guy, probably one of the best growers on the island. In fact, he's he can key you into some interest. He himself is tweaked a couple of strains of his own. He said, yeah, man, tap into that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good.
So that's the plan. Is that once we I've done like I said before, I've done the cannabis master's class. I've done what I need to as far as educating myself as much as I can about properly manufacturing and producing. But yeah, they have to be tested. You have to at least, and so what I'm doing is doing the science piece, the chemistry piece behind it, and making sure that what I'm doing, I've got a very, very consistent process, and that's where the strains come in, right? I know strains, they're different. Every plant is different, so you're going to have some fluctuation. That's why you maybe have your window of your 5% on the THC
margin. Yeah, exactly. Which you can have. Yeah.
You're going to have fluctuation. But at least if you can be consistent within a window that you can say, somebody could safely start low and go slow.
Right. Yeah. Right on.
And figure out what feels right for them. They're going to get the right result.
Right on.
Because it's going to be great. I don't smoke, I eat.
That's an excellent note to end on. All right, thanks. Kate, excuse me. Mosquito, sorry. No, thank you, Caitlin. This was a great conversation.
You're welcome.
We must do this again. I definitely look forward to meeting when I get into Jamaica.